I came, the whole Bangalore was a big mess. When I left, it was called Garden City. When I came back, it was full of garbage. Wherever you go, you have got garbage. Then I took up I combined some like-minded people, about 7-8 people in our area. We started a resident welfare association. We called it. It's a neighborhood campaign. For all this, in my opinion, what you people should do, first of all, you should know the extent of your ward or your extent of your area layout. That each one of you should know. And each BBMP side, if there is a hierarchy is like this. When an assistant engineer, so earlier junior engineer used to be there, now assistant engineer will be in charge for one ward. Above him is the AWE, assistant executive engineer, who has got 3-4 wards. Above him is the whole constituency, there is executive engineer. This hierarchy you must know. There are some limitations with the AE, and his phone number should be in your mobile always. For example, some pothole, while walking on the road, you have got some pothole there. This executive engineer will not do. This is the AE has to do. So like this, you must know which are the things which you have to do. And garbage. Everywhere there is garbage problem. Does any one of you know your area, is it serviced by a contractor or by BBMP directly? Any one of you know this? You know this? You know the difference between contractor and BBMP employees, Power Karmikas, how you differentiate them? Anyone? No, whoever is wearing saris, they are all BBMP employees. And anybody wearing coats, green, red, different according to area, they are all contractor employees. This is how you have to differentiate. Contractor employee has got a supervisor. So any garbage problem is there, that supervisor has got a mobile. This supervisor is under the main contractor. Any small problem, main contractor will not go. He will go only for the bills and commissions and all that. Your actual job is done by the supervisor. His number should be in your mobile. Keep it there. Anywhere you find, that man should come. And the system of work also, any one of you know how the Power Karmikas, anybody work? No. Morning 6:30 or 7 they give the muster. 7 to 10:30 is all collection from each house they do. Some houses they are going inside and working, they are wasting time, that is different. Collection. 10:30 to 11 is a tea time and again muster. This muster business, why it started was, many of the people after giving muster in the morning were going and working in so many officers' house, ministers' house and these things and all that. They were not found at all after 10:30. So this system was started about 6-7 years ago. This also was pointed out by one of our people like me, and then they woke up their eyes. So this is the first thing which each one of you should know. Now this is in connection with garbage. Garbage is one problem which no budget is required. You don't need this one BBMP to give you huge budget. That is a different thing for providing infrastructure and all that. But for you to get the house clean and get your roads cleaned and all that, you don't need budget. Already contractors are employed. Only you have to get the work done. 2 days you call him on the phone. Another thing I wish to tell you, patience and perseverance is very important. You keep calling him. Today he will not come to you. Next day again you call him. Say this is like this. Third day again you call him. Then he knows that you mean business. Many people just call and forget about it, go to office and forget about it. So then in your case, if you are working busy, at least transfer this to your housewife or to your wife and see that she follows it up. And you will get the job done. For that you need patience and perseverance. Otherwise, just by calling once, as he said, nobody will work. Because you can't just go and blame the government. You should also get involved. Then only you will be able to get the job done. This is regarding garbage. Now regarding water. Water, for every area, there is some place where from where the central reservoir or water tank will be there. From there they supply water. There is an assistant engineer there for each ward or each, they call it different subdivisions. So there he will be there. His number also should be there. So anytime you have water problem, straight away you call him. So he knows, oh, Mr. Mala's number has come. So that means he is not going to leave me. Again going to office, he will call me. What is? And then he will keep contact with his wife, whether you got water or not. This is how you have to solve the problem.
You don't have
that
a
means,
you don't have a water problem, sir.
Why you got boreholes? I mean, I am talking of the core
much bigger problem.
It's a bigger problem, I know. That's what I'm saying.
You are not having this problem, so I don't want to create problem.
It's a bigger problem.
No, in future, Kaveri flows. Kaveri forestage, when it comes, all the extended Bangalore is going to get. I am just telling in general.
Yes.
Now, regarding BESCOM, these are the essential things which you need for existence. First is cleanliness, next is water, next is electricity, even electricity. As soon as power goes, how many of you know which is the emergency number, which is your ward number? For every whole BESCOM, each subdivision or division, there is something called OD and WC, Operation and Maintenance, O&M. That man has got an A. The running repairs are all done by him. For example, on your way while driving, you see a spark coming out of the transformer, something is burning. You don't know whom to inform. You don't inform the chairman. Immediate assistant executive engineer to do it. So today morning when I was going for a walk near the park, one transformer was burning for half an hour, oil was coming out, God knows what it is. I made it a point to see that assistant engineer reaches there before I left the place. So like that, some sort of this thing is required. I don't expect all of you to leave your work and all that, do this business. No. I am just telling, this is how, these you should have in tips. These mobile numbers should be fed in your mobile, so that each one, any problem you must be able to call. So that way you will be able to service. Like this, you all like-minded people in each area, about 4 or 5 people you combine. Even ladies will be better because they don't have, many of the, now ladies also are working. Whoever ladies can spare time, you take their help. So that they will be able to follow up your action, whatever you have done. If you want to do it, you can't say, because as soon as you power some problem, you call Shobha Karamlaji and come solve a problem. That is not the way. You have got hierarchy for everything. So you do that. Some installation, some huge thing, transformer, a Raichur problem, she may have to solve or the managing director has to solve. So like that, each one has got their limits. So you have to, our problems can be solved in this level. Now what he pointed out about this, the whole layout, you must make about 4 or 5 of you even and take divisions, roads and some area and find out what are the main problems in this area and prepare a sort of list. And then go to the local corporator. Because you know, corporator is unfortunately he calls himself elected man. So only he can build the cat. You and I cannot do it. So you go to him with a joint, these are the problems we have. How are you going to solve our problem? Then, as Dr. Ashwin says, then the budget will come. Maybe your ward has got only this particular amount. He will not be able to solve, he has got 5, 6 layouts. All he cannot solve. So at least you take in phases. First year I will solve this, second year I will solve this, third year I will solve this, and fourth year like this. Like this has to be done. And as far as garbage is concerned, you need not phase it out. You can't leave water, garbage and electricity, you can't live without them. Roads, drains, other things, you wait for the allocation. So that you also must be able to understand, then he will also understand your problem. So instead of going alone, as he said, some community, some 3 or 4 people can join, so that you talk this time, next time the second person can follow. So this is important, chain is important. And first time you go to the corporator, he may say, I am busy something. You can't leave him there. Second time, again you go, till he accesses and show the reasons to you completely. And if it listens and keeps it in the file not doing it, then next time you go, why this is not done? When it will be done? How it will be done? That way you have to analyze the things. Then only you will be able to do something good for your neighborhood. This is called, you can call it as Srinivas was telling, neighborhood campaign. Like this. From neighborhood, each neighborhood becomes alright, then slowly whole Bangalore city will become alright. So like this, you have to work, each one of you.
Talk about the park.
Park, anything, park, that is one thing. And even regarding parks, for example, whatever in your area, how many parks are there, I don't know. If some park is there, BBMP has done the park, and then even an outsourced contractor is maintaining it. And the BBMP superintendent, horticulture superintendent, total there are 1037 parks in Bangalore city. And in your zone, I think about 45 or 50, you come under Bomanali zone, I think there are about this one. So, whatever parks are near your house, you be familiar with the person, Mali or gardener, whosoever is there, see what he is doing. And every time you go for a walk, a bit of time, a bit of second you spend on this also. See what he is doing. If some place, for example, a lot of senior citizens go for a walk, you need a toilet. or a urinal something is required. It is not there. So that you take it down. You see that it is put in the next immediate budget, because toilet is a very important thing where senior citizens go for a walk. Because for me, in our park to construct the toilet, it took 5 years. That's a different story. All the corporators, MLA shook their hands, we don't have. Finally, the chief engineer was there. He had some 1 or 2 toilets sanctioned, but place was not there. So straight away I stole it. That means you should have access to that. That is possible only if you are patient and you should pursue it. First, stay one casually, you say, and come out, is not doing, that will not help. In one day, these problems cannot be solved, because our system is like this. This is because we are electing people and sending, most of us, more than 60% of us won't go for election, go and vote. So automatically you have to suffer. That much of suffering you have to do for the mistake you have done. That is your mistake. I won't say that anybody else's, it is your mistake.
But here everybody voted, sir.
No, whatever. I am not telling him. Individually he must have voted, that is different. But you must blame yourself for that. And all the time you can't keep blaming the government. Try to involve yourself, as Dr. Ashwin says, make a small team, communicate, see that each one knows what you are doing. And same thing with the bus and whatever, same thing goes on. But all your contacts, mobiles and all that should be with everybody in the mobile. Immediately you see, that should be done.
One other thing which is worth adding to this, which is, they must know that you form a network.
Network, that is
very important. For example, in one of these meetings where the MLA or corporator promises to do something, I won't say which MLA or corporator, but I was in one of those meetings about 2 weeks ago. In the middle of the meeting, one gentleman stood up in the thing and said to the corporator, "You said the same thing in a different community meeting 3 months ago, 3 years ago, adu bagge edan madidira." Because once they realize that there is a tracking system and people are keeping track of it and they are asking follow-up questions. So merely making a promise is not good enough, that they are actually judging how you do, not only on the promise made to you, but on any promise made to anyone. This is the key. As long as they believe that you are only, this is an extraordinarily important thing. Any elected representative who feels that you only care about your own problems will by and large dismiss you. You can't even blame him for that. You can't even blame him for that, because there is no shortage of people who bring their personal problems to the MLA or the corporator and say, 90% of the time, the things that they are asking for are not even legal. So in some ways, people asking, fix my problem, is not really going to change the system. You have to be seen as a network in which you go and ask, fix this man's problem. Fix my problem, but also fix this man's problem. Fix that man's problem. That trust, it actually buys you a phenomenal amount of leverage. That if the PBMP engineer has to know that even if people in some other area have a problem, I will call about that. Then they begin to actually listen to you, because they believe at that point that you don't have vested interest, that you are actually a trustable person, and that if there are things that citizens need to do to work with them, that you will help to mobilize that also. Right? This is an extraordinarily important thing, that you must genuinely not have a vested interest. And the easiest way to break the vested interest is to form a network. In your own neighborhood, you might have some vested interest, naturally. But if you are part of a network, your vested interest begins to dilute the minute you go outside the network, outside your own neighborhood. And there people believe that you are actually a problem solver with an interest only in problem solving itself. And this is extremely important. That innermost trust. You trust people who are willing to work on the problems that do not directly affect them. This is the thing that actually will inspire more people to join you as a group. If they believe you to be a small group working only on your own problem, they'll say,
another important thing added to this is, when you go as a group or a network is there, they should understand, MLA or whosoever is there, corporator, this is not your individual problem. Say for example, park, there is a problem in the park and you need a toilet. It is not for you. It is for the community or the then people you want. Then automatically they will have access. This man, you must come and talk to him. Many, our MLA who was there, our Kattasur Nadu was my MLA. So much rush when he was MLA and minister, nobody could go. But as soon as the watchman sees me, he sends word, oh Ramakanth or Vadak Bitbiri. That means I am not going for my house problem. I am going for the community's problem on this. So he knows that this man is having some community along with him. Of course, he is a vote bank, so he thinks that I am also one of the vote bank. So let him understand whatever he wants. We want that. There is famous saying in Kannada, "Kelsa agvakare kattego kaal kattu." So you have to do that. Unless you do, and you should have the patience to do it. Once it will not be done. Maybe 2-3 times, as I said, for the toilet it took 5 years for me. And one signal we put in our Seshapuram main road, it took full 5 years. And they were not knowing from where to get the money. So finally in BBMP I could get access and see that some traffic, there is some amount left. In that money we took the signal. There was continuous, I did even the survey of the vehicles moving and all that. It was a terrible road. For 6-7 years we suffered. But now senior citizens, everybody can cross. So there is a place, signal also is there. Like that you have to do. And park and other thing, details of expenditure in the park, if any of you want, you can just go to the concerned horticulture superintendent, ask him how much money his outsourced contractor gets for this. You know, many of the outsourced contractors, 1 or 2% just for sweeping they put and they run away. If you are personally looking after, they will see that they put enough persons, see that park is maintained properly. I tell you, BBMP doesn't lack sanction, the full amount they sanction. But these contractors do all that. If you and I take interest and keep the eye opener there, and you are actually the eye of the BBMP. Though they may not like you to be eye, but you force yourself to be eye. And see that you do all the drawbacks and other things to bring it to their notice. See that your park is maintained well. This is only an example. Any of the things, even road also. After it is sanctioned, if they are laying the road, just get some of you to go around and see what thickness he is doing and what he is doing. One of the roads in my area, I got second layer of concrete made. Because the first layer when he made, it just came out within 3 days. So I spoke to the executive engineer to see that if it is not done, I am going to Indian Institute of Science, get it tested and take it to the board. Then he put another layer. Now it is 10-year-old, first class concrete road we have in that particular road with maximum traffic. Just because I kept my eyes open.
Yeah.
Like this we have.
In fact, this works well even for projects that are not sanctioned. There was one guy who came and said, "Sir, my road has never been tarred in history. Can you get it tarred?" I said, "I don't know how to get a road tarred if it's never been tarred in history, whether it even exists in BBMP's book yet." So we found one BDA project that was going on. So this man had one brilliant idea. He said, "We'll go to BDA and say we'll test that project." BDA engineer said, "Yeah, okay, sir, so you want to test our project and all that thing. You can be assured that it is being done properly. You don't need to test it and all that. The Indian Institute of Science, then this guy went and made a deal. He said, "My road has never been tarred in history. Why don't you tar that small portion also, some 50 feet of that?" So rather than having the other road tested, he decided he would tar this road even though it was not part of his original project. So you can get some of these outcomes to happen. But one other thing that very was quickly, essentially, BBMP's budget, you have to understand one thing. BBMP's budget will be 2.5 to 3 times the actual budget. That is, they'll make a budget for 9,000 crores. They will not collect more than 3,500 or 4,000 crores. So this has huge implications. You must understand. Just because something is put in the budget doesn't mean it's going to happen. Now you might ask, why does BBMP make a budget for 9,000 crores knowing fully well that they have only 4,000 crores? The answer is quite simple. They know that most of the projects will not complete. They know that. Therefore, you actually don't need all of the money needed to carry out all of the projects. So essentially, you assume a completion rate of 30% and a partial completion rate of 70%, and you make a budget out of that. Now, it's not, in some ways it's deliberate, but in another way it's also a problem. It means that if your project is not one of the ones that is taken up immediately after the budget, the likelihood of getting all the money needed for your project will drop dramatically. Therefore, if there are things that you care about, you need to make sure that immediately after the budget is passed, those things start. Because if you are not among the early starting projects, there's a very high chance that your project will not start or will not complete at all. Then, some 2 years ago when Mr. Sudhir was commissioner, we did an audit of the number of projects in BBMP. Anybody want to guess how many projects there are in BBMP at any given time?
1,000.
Huh? 1,000. So when we did this audit 2 years ago, it came out to 33,000. Okay. About 60% are what I call ghost projects. They don't actually exist. That is, some guy will say, if you want, even you can do this, I think. The system is so broken, you can do it. You can go do some small amount of work over there on the road, and then you can go and submit a bill to BBMP saying, this is the project, I did the work, this, you can give some project code, some project name, whatever it is, And if you know how to move the system, they'll actually pay your bill also. So this is what is happening in BBMP. Lots of guys will submit bills for projects that were never conceptualized or approved by BBMP and get bills paid on that basis. Or they'll take one project which is approved, which will have a code, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it'll have that code. Against that project, he'll submit a bill. But the work that he did will have nothing to do with the actual project. So this kind of racket was going on for a long time. This is what they call the bill payment scam. Like what came out last year is the bill payment scam. It's fundamentally this business of generating bills against non-projects or generating multiple bills against the same project for unrelated things. This is what turned out to be 1500 crores. It was only in 3 MLA constituencies, it turned out to be 1500 crores. So you can imagine that a lot of money is actually spent on projects that are neither conceptualized or actually approved by BBMP or by anybody else. But actual payment happens. This is the main reason to watch what is going on. Because lots of money gets spent on stuff that isn't approved at all. And that's the reason the stuff that you want isn't going on. So they are closely related. The expenditure on stuff that is not needed is hugely related to the expenditure that is not made on stuff that is needed. And that's the reason why you actually have to watch these things.
Okay.